Morning all of you. Today we are starting with chapter number 3, basic problems of an economy. Now when we talk about the basic problems in economy, the first thing to be discussed over here is the economic problem. That what is the economic problem? Now economic problem is a problem of scarcity and choice basically. We know that human wants are unlimited, but the means to satisfy these wants are limited. So when we try to satisfy these unlimited wants with limited means, we face a problem as these limited means have alternative uses. So we will have to make a choice that to which use are we going to put this limited mean where it has alternative uses. So as an individual, everybody faces this problem because there is economic scarcity. Nobody has things available in abundance, and in the same sense, even a nation faces the problem of economic scarcity as nobody has everything that they want. From the point of view of the individual or from the point of view of the nation, everybody is going to face this problem. So what will people have to do, or what will the people who are ruling the country, the ones who are taking the decisions for the nation will do? They are basically going to make a wise decision. Wise decision. Why wise decision? Because they have limited resources and the alternative uses are there. So they will have to make a wise decision regarding selecting that to which use are we going to put the resource to, which is the best possible use. Everybody will try that. From the point of view of an individual, he will try to utilize the resources in such a manner that he gets maximum satisfaction out of it and his most urgent want is satisfied first. And from the point of view of a nation also, the government tries to put the resources to the best possible use so that the needs of the country are satisfied and maximum people benefit out of it. So the economic problem is the problem regarding allocation of these limited resources for the production of alternative goods and services, and in other words we say it is a problem of choice because resources are scarce, they have alternative uses, and we will have to make a choice. But why that every time we will have to make a choice? Because of scarcity. Because scarcity is a key fact of the economy. Every economy faces scarcity. Nowhere goods are available in abundance. The law of scarcity states that goods are scarce because there are not enough resources to produce all the goods that people want to consume. If there would have been everything that people want, then there would have been no problem of scarcity. If there would have been no problem of scarcity, then the problem of choice would have also not arise. So the problem basically occurs because everywhere this is a fact of economic life that there is scarcity. Abundance of resources is not there. Scarcity occurs among all different types of people, among rich, among poor. It applies to everyone and every nation because there will never be enough of everything that people want to have. Even the richest person on earth and the richest nation of the world will have to face this problem of scarcity. So scarcity basically implies that people must make a choice to give up one thing to get another thing, and scarcity and choice always go together as there is scarcity of resources and the uses available for these resources are alternative, so choice making will have to be done. Say a government with a given amount of resources has to choose between using more resources in production of military goods or in providing education. So scarcity is a fact of life for individuals, for families, for government, for the whole economy, and even for the whole world. So the economic problem basically is a sum total of the problem of relative scarcity and the problem of choice arising therefrom. And this concept of scarcity and choice was even mentioned in the definition given by Lionel Robbins and even in the growth definition given by Professor Samuelson. Next we come to why does the economic problem arise. Now there are three reasons that why economic problem arises. First of all, there are unlimited wants. Secondly, the means or the resources to fulfill these unlimited wants are limited in nature. And thirdly, there have alternative uses. So coming to the first reason that why does economic problem arise? Economic problem arises because of unlimited wants. This is the first fundamental fact, that human wants are unlimited. Human wants start from the point a person is born and end only at the time when the person goes to the grave. So these wants are multiple. They tend to multiply over time. They grow. They even change with time. And as new things are discovered in the economy, people have demand for new things. Wants are even recurring in nature because the same wants keep coming back. For example, the want for water or the want for food. These are things that keep coming back. If we have had food in the morning, we will again have that in the afternoon and again in the evening. So that is a recurring nature of want. So all these facts basically indicate that human wants are unlimited, and these wants differ in their urgency. Whereas some wants are more urgent, others are less pressing. Therefore, individuals have a scale of preferences, that is, they can list various wants in order of their urgency or importance. And depending upon their urgency or importance, the wants will be satisfied. That is, the more urgent and the more important wants will be satisfied first. As being unlimited, we cannot satisfy all the wants together at the same time. The second reason why economic problem arises is limited resources. Now, we know that the resources to satisfy these wants are unlimited in nature. Resources are not available in abundance. The resources of a society consist of land, labor, capital, equipments, and entrepreneurship. These productive resources are called factors of production because they are used in producing goods and services. Thus, productive resources are needed to produce goods and services required to satisfy human wants. And these productive resources are themselves in limit, supply or scarce, so as compared to the demand for various goods by the people, the existing supply of resources is insufficient. So because the supply of resources is insufficient and the wants that have to be satisfied are unlimited in number, problem arises. So then comes the concept of choice and comes the concept of choosing these limited resources in a proper manner. So thirdly, the reason that why there is economic problem or why does economic problem arise is resources have alternative uses. That is, resources are not only limited in nature, or it is not just that there is scarcity of resources, but these resources have alternative uses. For example, there is a piece of land, it can be put to different uses. We can either cultivate some crop on it, or it can be used for constructing a house, or it can even be used for constructing a commercial building on it. So to which use we are going to put depends upon the need, the human want, that which want is more urgent. So this alternative uses again poses a problem that how the limited resources will be used. So there comes the problem of choice making. The economic problem arises from the scarcity of resources relative to human wants. So since society cannot satisfy all its wants due to limited availability of goods and services, it must always make a choice. So choice making is an essential thing when there are unlimited wants, limited resources, and the resources have alternative uses. Choice making will have to be done. Society will have to choose between the alternative uses. So economic problem therefore is essentially the problem of choice. And we also need to understand this, that where again and again we are saying that wants are unlimited and the resources to satisfy these wants are limited and resources have alternative uses. That is why the problem of choice making arises. So when we are making a choice, we have to make sure that we have to put these resources to the best use and we have to economize those resources. So by economizing of resources, we mean that available resources should be allocated among different uses in such a way that resources are put to their best possible use. It refers to the best use of available resources so as to maximize output. So we can see that in this chart, the economic problem has been properly mentioned, that human wants are unlimited in nature and these unlimited human wants have a scale of urgency. That is, some wants are more important than the others and others are less important. The resources which are available to satisfy these wants are limited. Not only are the resources limited, but they have alternative uses also. Because of this, the problem of choice arises. Among the wants that we have, which are unlimited in nature, we have to choose amongst the most urgent one and the less urgent one. So we satisfy it on the basis that which is most urgent, because we cannot satisfy all the wants together, and because it has alternative uses, we have to choose that to which use we have to put it to in a best manner. So this is not just applicable to an individual, this is applicable to the nation as a whole. From the point of view of the country also, it has to be decided that which goods are required to be produced, what will satisfy the needs of the people more. Are we going to produce more of defense goods, or are we going to produce more of civilian goods? By civilian goods we mean goods which are required by the people of the country. That they consist of clothing, and they consist of furniture and medicines and schooling and food and all these things. So generally, where we talk about civilian goods are basically consumer goods and producer goods which satisfy the wants of the people. So the nation has to choose that which particular good will be produced that will satisfy the wants of the people more. As even from the point of view of the country, economizing of resources is important. We cannot afford to waste the resources, as the resources are limited. We will have to put them to their best use so that more and more welfare can be brought about, more and more wants of people can be satisfied. As wants are unlimited, we cannot satisfy all of them, but we have to try to satisfy the wants in such a manner that more welfare take place, and along with it, the resources are put to their best possible use, and there is no wastage of resources. So next we come to the basic or central problems of an economy. Now every economy faces the basic or central problems, and these problems are what to produce and how much to produce, how to produce and for whom to produce. So these three are the first basic problems or central problem that every economy has to face. That may be an economy of any nature, that may be a socialistic economy or a capitalistic economy or a mixed economy. Every economy has to face these three problems, and along with these three problems, economies also have to face three additional problems: problem of fuller utilization of resources, problem of efficiency in utilization of resources, and problem of economic growth. So now one by one we will see these problems. So first of all, we come to the first main problem, that is what to produce. Now what to produce is the first central problem that every economy faces, and this problem basically involves two interrelated issues, that is what commodities shall be produced and in what quantity. So we are not just deciding that what will be produced, but along with that we are also deciding that in how much quantity that thing will be produced. And this question directly arises from the fact that human wants are unlimited and resources are limited. So where the resources are scarce, the society cannot produce all goods and services it wants. It will have to make a choice which goods and services to produce and which goods and services not to produce. So along with what to produce, we are also deciding what is not to be produced. So the thing that is more urgent, that will be produced, and that is less urgent will not be produced. So should it produce guns or butter, food or clothing? The what and how much to produce are essentially two aspects of the same question. So by guns and butter we mean guns refers to defense goods and butter refers to civilian goods. So the society has to choose between hundreds of goods. It has to make a choice basically between consumer goods and capital goods like machinery, tools, plants, etc. It has to decide whether to produce more of guns or more of butter, that is to produce more of civilian goods like clothes, furniture, cars, food and such kind of things. And in civilian goods we even have the capital goods like machinery, tools, plants, etc. Or to produce more of defense goods, that is guns and tanks and missiles and such kind of things. So problem of what to produce is the problem of resource allocation, since choosing to produce a particular commodity means allocating resources for the production of that commodity. So once we will decide that okay, this is what we want to produce, we will have to allocate the resources for that particular thing. And what commodities will be produced in an economy depends ultimately on what is the pattern of demand and availability of the resources. So pattern of demand relates to the types of goods demanded by the people. So if people in, say if it is a tropical country, people in that country will demand goods more of such nature according to that kind of climate, say for example cotton clothes, while in countries with cold climate people will demand woolen clothes and such kind of things. So at the same time, the type of goods the country produces depends upon the kinds of resources available in the country. So what to produce is a problem which decides upon what commodities shall be produced, in what quantities the commodity will be produced, what are we deciding not to produce, and are we producing more of guns or more of butter. The choice making will have to be done. Now the second problem that every economy has to face is how to produce. For this particular problem, how to produce refers to selecting the method of production that will be used for production. There are different techniques available for production of goods. There are labor intensive techniques available and there are capital intensive technique available. The question of choosing appropriate technique arises because there are various alternative methods or techniques available to produce a commodity. Broadly, as I already told you that there is labor intensive technique and there is capital intensive technique. Now what do we mean by them? A labor intensive technique is a technique in which we use more and more of labor and less of capital, whereas a capital intensive technique is one in which use of capital is more and use of labor is less. So there is an example that we can take to understand this thing more in a better manner. Cotton cloth can be produced either by handloom or by power loom. Now when we choose to produce it by handloom, this is a labor intensive technique because this requires more of labor. And when we choose it by power loom, this is a capital intensive technique because this uses more of capital. So should cloth be produced by handlooms or power looms, or should electricity be generated from coal or waterfalls? The root cause of this problem also lies in the fact that resources are scarce. We will choose that method of production for which resources are available. All resources are available in limited quantity. So society cannot afford to just waste the resources just like that, squander away the resources. It has to be economical in the use of productive resources. So have the resources been available in plenty, then any technique could have been adopted. But here the problem arises which technique to use, because we will have to see that what type of resources are available in that country. All the countries do not have same type of resources available. Some countries have better techniques available, their level of technology is higher, whereas in other countries the amount of labor is more. So depending upon what is the availability of resource in the country, the method of production will be selected. The third basic or central problem that every economy has to face is for whom to produce. Now for whom to produce is the problem of distributing the total amount of goods and services produced in an economy among its members. That is, who shall get the goods and services produced in the economy, or to put it another way, how is the national product to be divided among different individuals and families. The people basically who contribute to the national income in the form of being the factors of production like land, labor, capital, and enterprise or entrepreneur, they will get a share of the national income. The problem is that how this distribution will take place. So distribution of income will determine the distribution of goods and services, because the one who is getting more part of income will be in a position to buy more amount of goods, whereas the one who is getting less share of the national income will be in a position to buy less. So the sum total, what to produce, so national product, which is the sum total of the contribution made by these factors of production, is distributed among various productive resources in the form of various type of factor income such as wages, interest, rent and etc. And how much each one is getting will determine that how much share of the goods they will get, because this return will determine that what is their purchasing power, and on the basis of this how much share they will get will be determined. So what to produce, how to produce and for whom to produce are the three fundamental problems faced by all economies. So now we come to the homework part of the chapter. What you have to do today is, first of all, the very short answer, question number 3, what is meant by scarcity in economics, and only question number 3, very short, what is meant by scarcity in economics. Then we come to short answer questions. There we have question number 1, explain the economic problem of an economy, and question 2, explain the factors that lead to economic problem. So question 1 and question 2, and long answer question number 1, explain the central problems of an economy, the 3 central problems that we have discussed. Additional problems we have not discussed, that you don't have to do. So only the 3 central problems of an economy, and do all economies face similar central problem. So that is your homework assignment for today. Thank you.